Well, hey there. Today we're talking about the Rode Wireless Go 2 microphone setup. I want to give you a real-world review. Well, hey, what's up? If you do not know who I am, my name is Tony, and I am a filmmaker, photographer in the St. Louis area. We talk a lot about Canon cameras, we talk a lot about video, and we talk a little about photo. So I'm glad you're here, so let's get into this video. Today we are talking about the Rode Wireless Go 2 microphones. Now, if you're not familiar with these are tiny little microphones that have a built-in mic into the receiver. They're very nice, and this is actually the second version of them. Just a disclaimer, I paid for this set. Rode did not send it to me. And I also bought the original Rode Wireless Go when it first came out. As soon as I heard about this product, I decided to buy it, and I loved it. I used it a ton. I did a review on it. This one comes with one body pack and one transmitter, the Rode Wireless Go. The new one comes with two body packs. Comes with two transmitters and one receiver. And the way that it works is you plug this receiver into your camera. It runs through one cable into the camera, sending one channel to the left and one channel to the right. As long as you're not clipping on either channels, you're good to go. And this has been a really well-received feature for me. To be honest, I used to do this with the Rode Wireless Go with two of them. I'd plug in two receivers, and then I had like a Y cable that split in, and I went left and right that way. This is much simpler and honestly a little cheaper. Now that we're talking about price, they come in at $300 approximately, and the Rode Wireless Go original is at $200. So for an extra $100, you get an additional wireless signal, which is very nice. That's cheaper than it is for the Wireless Go. So also they added a whole bunch of other features. So let's talk about some of those features that they added in. The first one is that they added the additional body pack. I already mentioned that. But then another thing they did is on the body pack, they come with these little dead cats, these little wind muffs. And so you just clip it on here. This new system actually locks on versus the old system that would just kind of pop on and it would constantly fall off. So I never even used them, and then you get wind noise and it's no good at all. This is a really nice new feature. The other thing that they did is they added internal recording, which is a big deal. What that means is once this receiver connects to the transmitter, what happens is it starts recording on the transmitter. And you can record up to 7 hours of uncompressed 32-bit float audio, which, if you don't know what that means you can record 7 hours of conversations without worrying about it clipping because it has 32-bit float. And so I can show you how to access those recordings, but it's a really nice backup feature in case for some reason your transmitter and receiver get disconnected. The other thing that they added, and I haven't used this much, is some iOS compatibility. You can actually use a USB-C cable, plug it into the into your iPad, say, and you can record it straight in that way. Like I said, I haven't really used that much, but if you've got a really simple run and gun setup and you just need to record a quick VO, that's a really nice way to do it. Alright, so let's talk about my experience both with the Rode Wireless Go and the Wireless Go 2. The first thing is that I bought the Rode Wireless Go and I loved it. I loved the idea of having a transmitter that was this small and it had a built-in microphone, because what I do is I just clip it right here and then you can just start recording. Now, if you're wearing any kind of a shirt over this, say a jacket, and you'll notice in a lot of my videos outside I wear jackets because it just completely covers it up, the sound sounds really good. You don't have to worry about the dead cat, you don't have to worry about running lapel mics, all of that stuff, and eventually this just disappears, especially if you're wearing a dark shirt. So I would use this all the time. I love this feature on the Wireless Go. The biggest problem that I had with the original, though, is that a couple things would affect the connectivity between the transmitter and the receiver. One, obviously signals in the air, so if you're near an airport, which the place I work at is right next to an airport, so there's lots of frequencies. 2, if you start adding multiple wireless goes, you start getting some connectivity issues. And then 3, if the battery starts to get low, you also see some connectivity issues. So you start stacking these things up, and I'm starting to like question, is this considered a reliable option for something that I can't re-record? For YouTube and things like that, sure, it's totally fine for me to use it because I can just re-record it. But if I'm in a really personal interview, or if I'm doing a live event, it makes it really hard to rely on these if I'm using multiple. So we actually moved away from using these wireless goes in a live situation just because of that reason. They would drop out and you have little clips in the audio, and nobody likes that. But for recorded videos like this, or if I'm doing a 2-person interview, or all sorts of different things, these have become really useful. And so because of the features that they added, specifically the internal recording, that it made it much more reliable. So, real world, this is how I've been using these. I do a lot of weddings. I've actually tested this out a couple times. And in the past, what I've did is I've never done anything wireless because I was really worried about dropouts. If there's a ceremony in an old church with weird wiring and say 300 people sitting in the ceremony, like, I don't want to worry about wires or wireless connection getting in between my audio and ruining, say, the vows or something special like that. So what I would do is I would use field recorders. The one I used a lot was the Zoom F1. This thing is gigantic, by the way. Like, look at the size difference between this. It's gigantic compared to this little guy. And it doesn't have a built-in mic. So I would throw this in the coat pocket of the groom. 75% of the time, it would stay on. The other 25%, the groom would bump it. Even if I put the hold on, somehow the groom would turn this off by messing with it. There's all jitters and all sorts of stuff going on. And then you run up the wired microphone up to, say, behind the boutonniere, and you're good to go. So I've used this in the past. The other way that I've used it is for speeches and toasts and things like that at the reception. The biggest problem is this is a big old piece of gear to stick on a maid of honor who's giving a toast. Like, she doesn't have pockets, and half the time her dress doesn't even cover her neck. So I'd end up sticking it back here and stick it on the back of her dress, and when she turns around, you can see it. And then I've got this cable that I have to figure out what to do. Well, now what I've been doing is, because of the internal recording, I'll connect these two. The way that you do that is you simply turn them on, and once they connect, they start recording. Now, you have to turn that setting on in the Rode app, and I can talk about that in a second. But once they're recording, they're good to go as long as you turn them off when they're connected. So if I turn these on and go in another room and then turn this off, it's not going to record, which is that needs to be fixed. But this should be able to, as soon as it's recording, it should start, or as soon as it's turned on, it should start recording. But regardless, what I'll end up doing is I will connect this to my camera. So now I'm getting audio into the camera. I'll have really good audio lined up with the video. Don't have to worry about syncing up anything. But as a backup, I have the 32-bit float on this internal transmitter. So I don't have to worry if it disconnects in a room full of people or if there's problems or anything like that. Now, I do like to get 2 streams of audio. The second stream is from the DJ, but board feeds have just been really hit or miss lately. You typically, if you get good sound, you get better sound than you would with the lapel, just because of the room echo and things like that. But like most of the time, my board feeds are not great because you got some 19-year-old from whatever company that has used the board once and doesn't even know how to hook it up. So, you know, I have just decided from now on, I'm just going to lapel up everyone. And this has been very, very nice, especially for maid of honors who are giving speeches. I just clip it right on their dress. And then when they're done, say there's a second like maid of honor. That's been happening a lot lately. I tell her, just take it and clip it on the next bridesmaid. And she does it, and it's perfectly fine. I haven't had any trouble. Typically, her hair covers it, and it's just a really nice setup, opposed to having this big, clunky thing with lots of wires, and it's flopping around on their dress. My light just turned off, by the way. We're going to keep going. But anyways, that has been very, very nice. And the fact that, you know, it's got this little dead cat on here that locks on, that I can use it outside. I don't have to worry about the wind noise from tiny little lapels with tiny little wind screens that fall off at the time. It has been very, very nice. I've really enjoyed using this, and in fact, I just used this at a wedding recently. As far as battery life, I've never maxed these things out. I can use them pretty much all day long, and I never have any trouble with them. The cable that is included is very high quality. They got rid of the little spinny one, and they made it just a straight cable, which is similar to their NTG cable, if you're familiar with Rode products. That's a nice cable, and it comes with a bag like the original, except for it's quite a bit longer to fit all 3 of the body packs, opposed to the original, which was a little bit more square, and I kind of like this. It fit a little bit better, but I understand why they made it bigger, and I am glad that they included these bags. I use these pretty frequently, and I actually keep an extra lapel just in case I do need to wire up and I don't want people to see this little body pack. I do use the lapel, which you just plug right in next to the microphone. Very nice and easy. They made these things like Swiss Army knives. Like, when there was no such thing as this before the Wireless Go, and the Wireless Go 2 has made it that much better. So for me, it is a no-brainer. If you need a wireless mic and you are not going to spend $2,000 on electrosonics, this is a great microphone, and I would highly suggest it. I'm using this for almost like all of my wireless needs these days, just because it's so portable and it's so convenient. And it has a built-in internal recorder. It has a field recorder built in, which is crazy. I love it. I love it. Good job, Rode. Other than that, let's land this plane. I've got the links for this product in the description. Obviously, it's an affiliate link if it's through Amazon and a couple other things, but I get a little kickback. But at the end of the day, I don't care if I make any money from this. These are great products, and as a filmmaker, these are something that you should have, even if you are making iPhone videos. Because bottom line, if you've got bad audio, your video is going to be bad. Alright guys, well, like I said, I'm glad that you're here. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We talk a bunch about Canon cameras, we talk a lot about video, and I'm starting to talk a lot more about some of that iPad area, because I think that that's kind of a key area where the future's going. So I'm excited about what's happening, and I'm glad that you're here, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.